What's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless engineer, and I critically analyze apologist claims to give you the best arguments and information so that you can stand up and use your voice. Today is going to be a clip from one of my TikTok live discussions. So if you want to get in on more of these kinds of discussions that are happening, I suggest you go down below and follow both of my accounts over there on TikTok. Today we're having a discussion with a guy named Stephen John. Stephen wants to discuss divine command theory, specifically the divine commands to sacrifice children, as well as violence done in God's name. Then we're going to get into a little bit more of the nature of God's power and morality, like what is all that supposed to mean in the context of an all-powerful God. Then finally, we're going to wrap this up with a comparison between modern morality and ancient morality. So if you want to fuck around and find out how Stephen justifies the cruel actions of his God in the Hebrew Bible, then please stay tuned. Oh, we got somebody. Who is it? Stephen John? Looks like a Red Wings fan. What up there, Steven? How you doing?
Hey, what up, bro? You a Red Wings fan?
No, I mean, I used to get a lot of mail from them when I was like a teenager for some reason. I have no idea why, but in any case, so how old are you?
I'm 40.
40.
So
okay.
I was in the glowing game.
Right. Yeah. I'm turning 40 next month, by the way. So we're right there. Same.
Oh, dude, you're gonna wake up when you're 40, literally, and your back's gonna like literally hurt. I woke up on my birthday and I was like, I couldn't barely get up. Bro, I was.
No, I totally understand that.
Welcome.
Yeah. So first off, though, I want people to respect you in my comments and everything. So what are your pronouns?
I'm a man, and
okay, so you'd say he,
obviously
him?
I'm 40, so I don't really come from this generation. So I would say, yeah, he, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
he, him. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. So
can I have like pronouns? Yeah. Okay. Can I have adjectives like handsome and brilliant? Okay.
I mean, you can have those, but those aren't pronouns. Like if I were in the comment section, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, hey, handsome over there." I mean, I guess you could say that, but I mean, I wouldn't say it.
I'm just messing.
Yeah. Anyways,
yeah.
How do you feel about those topics up there? Do you disagree with them?
I mean, not necessarily. The Bible itself, that's a true statement. Like the Bible itself, I'm actually a Christian, believe it or not. Okay. I'm a Christian. I never used to be. But the Bible does actually support some of this stuff. However, I think the bigger question is, does God support it, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I definitely think, right, I agree. But I would say that God, like my background says, God definitely supports all of those things.
Oh, I didn't see that part. Yeah, because if you read like the book of Jeremiah, for instance, like God is actually like punishing the Israelites for like all the terrible things that they were doing in his name that he didn't command, like in like Jeremiah 18. Well, he's like in Jeremiah, he's like, you did things in my name that I did not command, neither did it enter my.
All right, so it's like, Jeremiah 18.
You burned your children to Baal. I believe it's 18. Yeah.
I believe it's 18. Stubborn idolatry. Wrong. So it's idolatry. Plot against Jeremiah. Like I don't see directly anything in here about you've done shitty shit.
Well, look up this quote. It says you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it's look up this particular verse. So, burn your children to Baal, and then look up like neither did it enter my heart, something of that sort. Because I'm not that good, but I know I literally audio listened to the whole book of Jeremiah on my way to Florida. It was like the longest ride ever, and it was the longest book ever.
Okay, so Jeremiah 19:5, and gone on building the high places of Baal to burn their children in the fire as burnt offerings to Baal, which I did not command or decree, nor did it enter my mind. Right. The problem is worshiping Baal, not burning children. God is in Judges 11.
He does talk about that.
Judges 11. What?
He does talk about burning children
to
in his
Baal.
name. And actually says in his name, and I don't know. Yeah, because they were using the name of Yahweh in replacement of Baal. They're actually worshiping Baal, and even in certain passages in the Old Testament, and they were doing things out of their own vanity of their own heart, basically. Not God's word.
So that's not what the
that's why they actually.
So if that was hold on. So if right. So if the actual burning of children in this passage was the offending passage, or the offending act in this passage, then we wouldn't have Jephthah in Judges 11, where God totally accepts a burnt sacrifice as a child of a child. So it doesn't make sense in this respect for God to have a problem with the burning of the children. It's more about burning of the children to worship Baal. So the main focus here is worshiping Baal, not the unalivement of children.
I would agree in a certain particular sense where it doesn't make sense in direct context, but the message of the Bible that is literally pointing out is that God rejected these things and then he brought it forward in Jeremiah. So now
so
whether or
like
not
you're twisting things, I feel like you're twisting things because he rejected worshiping other gods, specifically in this situation, Baal,
right.
but not rejecting the way in which the worship happened. So like he's not rejecting the unalivement of children for Baal. He's rejecting the entire worshiping of Baal.
No, he's rejecting the act of evil in general on his people.
Where does
and
it
the
say
relationship
that? Because it doesn't say that.
Well, that's the whole thing. It's a message throughout the entirety of the Bible. So what we see happening in the Bible is the Israelites breaking their covenant with God, right? Ultimately. So God didn't break his covenant with his people, but his people broke their covenant with him. That's the story of the Old Testament over and over again. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to read to you 1 Samuel 15, and it's the first 3 verses of it, okay?
I mean, and let me, before you read this, I just want you to let you know that terrible, violent things happen in the Old Testament in God's name. And what I'm saying is, just so other people understand, is that God was not necessarily for those things, but he allowed those things to happen. But you can continue.
So you're saying that God is not all powerful?
No, I'm saying that within the confines of the reality that we live in, God is all powerful. Okay. Our imagination, on the other hand, and no disrespect, but in our own imagination and our own will, God is not necessarily like God can't make us all pink bunny rabbits, right? He can't make us. God's not a genie from Disneyland, right?
Well, I mean, if he's not all, if he is all powerful, then he can do that.
No, God can do the ultimate and the maximum of what can be done in reality. And there's many things in reality
he's not all powerful.
No, it's not in that sense, because the reality that we live in, there's an ultimate that can be done, not outside of in your imagination.
Right, which is a limit. Which is a limit.
It's not a limit. It can't be.
You're saying that it's a limit.
All we have is this reality, right? All we have is the maximum that can be done in this particular reality. Then outside of that reality is called an imagination. It's not real. It doesn't exist.
No, but what I'm saying, so I'm saying that this is a limit. You're literally like defining a limit and then saying that it's not a limit. But this is a limit. I'm a software engineer. I know what limits are. I have to deal with limits all the time.
Does nothing exist? Can God make nothing exist as something?
If God is all powerful and he can do anything, then yeah.
No, he's working within the realm of logic.
Which is a limit.
God always does that.
Which is a limit.
It's not a limit. There's no such thing as, in your imagination, what you think a limit isn't necessarily what it is. Because if the ultimate that can be done in reality can only be done by God, that doesn't mean that he can make us all pink bunny rabbits.
I feel like reality is limited. But the claims of Christianity is that God has unlimited power.
No, it is limited. It's limited to you and your imagination.
What? I don't understand.
Yes.
Anyways, sorry.
The concept of reality
can we get back on track
to
here?
You, not to God.
Right. I mean, we're getting off in the weeds about the ability of God to do anything.
It's not going in the right direction you want it to. That's why you want to change the subject.
No. It is going in the right direction that I want it to. You're just seem to be ignorant of what a limit is. And I just can't deal with that right now. So
now there's insults. So now I'm actually winning. I'm gaining ground because now you're insulting me and saying that I'm ignorant.
No. Ignorant is not an insult. I'm saying that you're being ignorant about what a limit is, meaning that you just simply don't know what a limit is. That's not an ad hominem.
Let's get a toll from the crowd and say, did I explain that to from an ignorant perspective, or did I explain it in a way that makes sense? Because I think I explained it in a way that makes sense. As you're just not willing to accept it.
Everybody in the comments either say yes or no in the comment section, and we'll definitely figure this out. But anyways, I want to go back to the whole child thing, or like the unalivement of children kind of thing, because you're saying that God is condemning the Israelites for the sacrifice of children, and that he regularly condemns them for the unalivement of children, right?
Yeah, he does in Jeremiah. We pulled up the verse.
Right. Okay, so this is 1 Samuel 15, right? The first 3 verses, I'm going to read them. Samuel said to Saul, "The Lord sent me to anoint you king over his people Israel. Now therefore listen to the words of the Lord." The words of the Lord, okay? "Thus says the Lord of hosts, I will punish the Amalekites for what they did in opposing the Israelites when they came up out of Egypt. Now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have. Do not spare them, but unalive both man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and donkey." So this is an explicit command by God to unalive children and infants and like older children. So what does this say to you about God?
Absolutely. I'm going to draw back to the character of God. Does the character of God, based on the Christian perspective, know the future?
Yes.
If he's God. Right. So he knows the future. He knows what these children and these people are going to become in the future, and what the cost is going to be.
So it's a good thing to unalive children.
It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing to have sin in the world, ultimately, because sin is what causes these things. So he's working within a sinful world, outside of his will, and he's working within the confines of a relationship that he's having with his people.
So it's okay to unalive children.
It's not that easy. It's not cut and dry like that.
Okay. So in this section, God says kill unalive children, and this is a good thing.
Right. And my answer is, like I just said, God knows the future. God knows that he needs to preserve his people within a sinful generation, to make sure that the word of God and the grace which came by Jesus Christ comes to the entire world, right? Without compromising his for the people. And so if he's working within a relationship with unaliving children,
so this case of unaliving children is a good thing.
And so what I'm saying is you're putting that account on God. But if God knows the future and knows that if these children perhaps lived and killed them, then the whole purpose of his redemption for all people would then be flawed ultimately.
Okay, right? So in this situation, it's good to unalive an innocent child.
It's not good. It was at the time. It was something that God knew and seen and foreseen.
Right. So God
therefore,
can do bad things.
If someone was coming at you with a knife and it was going to kill you, God said, "Well, you have to." If a baby runs
at you with a knife, are you gonna unalive them right there?
Not me. No. Okay. I don't have to.
I don't see you making a good argument for why this particular instance is good or is something that's needed. Why can't the children be spared and incorporated into the Israelite society?
Right, because first you have to understand the confines of free will, God's people, their assignment, and their failure.
Their assignment is to unalive children and infants, along with every man and woman in the society.
To bring grace and forgiveness of sin to all the world.
No,
and that starts with the person of Jesus Christ.
The assignment here is to unalive a fucking child. I don't know what you're talking about, Steve.
Yeah, and I mean the context of the verse, but you're not taking in the whole Bible into perspective. You're simply taking a particular verse, not understanding the whole message of the Bible, and then attributing that to God's ill will for mankind.
Okay, so here's my position. There is no situation where it is a good thing or a necessary thing to unalive a small child or an infant, okay? God directly says, now go and attack Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have. Do not spare them, but unalive both man and woman, child and infant, ox and sheep, camel and donkey. He literally says, go and unalive children as revenge for whatever in the fuck these people did, right? So unalive innocent children and infants that have done nothing to the Israelite people. They have made no decisions. They have done nothing. They can easily be like re-indoctrinated into the Israelite society or anything like that. But God doesn't want to do that. God wants them to go in and directly orders the Israelites to take a sword or a dagger and slowly shove it into the chest of a small child. How is
and bring
this?
them back to him. Right. So from the perspective of the God Almighty who created the whole universe, you would be bringing those children back to him out of this world where the people that are adulting them are probably maniacs that want to destroy Israel and taking them and putting them back in God's hands. That's the perspective
So
of
it's
God.
a good thing to unalive
Not
children.
man. No, why do you keep saying that? Why do you keep changing the narrative? What
I'm not changing the narrative. You said that it's a good thing to bring them back to God.
I never
and so
said
that
that. You
includes their.
said
Is it a good
it's
thing?
not a good thing. There's many bad things that have to happen.
Was it a good thing to bring
in a
them back to
sinful world
God? You just
because of
said that it
sin.
was a good thing to bring them back to God, did you not?
I never said. Did I actually say it was a good thing? No, it was a thing that had to happen because these children were going to grow up with parents. I mean, you're probably
their parents don't exist. That's what you're missing.
I'm just
listen, that's what you're missing. Their parents don't exist. Their parents aren't teaching them or anything like that.
Children. Why would you?
Wait, I'm sorry. Say that again.
Is it okay to unalive an unborn child? Is it okay to unalive an unborn child?
That's a complicated topic, but no, I think that's a complicated topic. What you're talking about is abortion.
We're going there. We're going there.
Okay, I don't consider a fetus inside the womb to be a child. I do have my own personal limits as to what I would be okay with as far as abortion goes, but I think that abortion should be available for the entire 9 months, and that's primarily because later term abortions are usually done for health reasons and for the safety of the mother, as well as to prevent the unnecessary suffering of a child. And so the earlier the 95% I think it is what it is occur prior to the 13-week mark, and it's normally done through chemical means, meaning they just take a couple of pills that end up forcing a miscarriage. And so, like, there's nothing wrong with that. That's
immoral,
not killing a child. It's not unaliving a child.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
No,
it
it's
is.
not.
If you ever actually watch what they do during an abortion, I bet
actually,
you haven't watched.
What are you doing? Are you listening to like some kind of?
I'm putting you in the same boat. You're saying that you're more moral than God. But yet you believe in
I am.
Things.
In every aspect, I am more moral than fucking
unborn
God.
Child out of the world.
No. So you're twisting things. It's not an unborn child. It's a fetus. And also, most abortions occur prior to the 13-week mark. Most abortions are done. Most abortions are done through chemical means, meaning they just take a couple of pills that force a miscarriage. I didn't say all of them. I said 95%. I said a majority of them do.
You're only okay with the chemical process.
No. I didn't say I'm only okay with the chemical process. Obviously, later term abortions, where they perform the abortions, they're not chemical. They have to be surgical. But I mean, what I'm saying is that the more access we have to abortion services, the less later term abortions are needed. And the only time later term abortions are needed is when the health of the mother or the health of the child, to prevent needless suffering.
And you believe that's in 90% of the cases are like that. You don't ever believe that it's inconvenience of life, like that the mother is just inconvenient, can't afford the child.
I really don't. No, I mean, I really don't fucking care what their reasons are in those in that particular instance.
You should care. But all you care about is
no, I'm not going to care. No, listen. Like you're getting in the weeds about abortion, and what I'm going to come back to is the fact that God is perfectly fine with unaliving small children, right? You can't get past that. He's fine with it. He even commands it. This is something. Look. Here's the thing that I don't get.
You have the same morals as him, so why are you going against that?
The God of the Bible specifically talks about how you can encrust the Ark of the Covenant so that he can double fist it while he fucks his ass. Okay, that's what he does in the Hebrew Bible.
Now we got the truth coming out. Okay, man.
No. Right. Well, God specifically tells you how to encrust his ark. He specifically tells you how to build his temple, how to worship him, and everything like that. He fucking ran.
He ran away.
I know. He's a scaredy cat. Hey there, Dalton.
Hey, bud. I just wanted to come up here to point out to everyone that so according to the Hebrew Bible, whenever you unalive somebody, like it's a life for a life. That's the rule of the Bible. That if you unalive someone, if you murder someone, you get murdered as a result. However, according to the book of Exodus, chapter 21, if a fetus is unalived in the womb, it isn't life for life. You just have to pay a fine. So obviously, the authors of the Hebrew Bible did not consider the fetus to be on the same, to be equal to like a person outside of the womb. It wasn't until much later in history, actually, that we get this idea that the fetus is considered like equal as like a life. According to the Hebrew Bible, Genesis 2:7, someone's not really a living soul until they take the first breath. A God breathes into Adam's nostrils, and Adam becomes, as a result, a living soul. So, before the child takes the first breath, in Judaism, they are not considered a living soul, which is why in Judaism, abortion is considered permissible, because it's not a life.
Yeah, I totally agree about that. Well, heathens, that was kind of a wild conversation. If you will, please go down below and let me know what you thought about any of the topics that we discussed in this video. What did you think about the divine commands for child sacrifice as well as violence? Also, what do you think about the nature of God's power and his morality? And how should God's morality factor into his divine command? And then finally, do you think that it was a fair discussion when we compared modern morality to ancient morality? Let me know down below in the comments. And while you're down there, why don't you smash that like button and subscribe if you like this kind of content. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, heathens.